Troublesome times are here, feeling in touch with fear. Freedom we all hold dear, now is at stake. Humble your heart to God, safe from the chastening rod. Seek the way pilgrims trod, Christians away. My Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon, many will.
Thanks for sharing your time with us right now. We're going to have a different show today because we got two special people here. And we got Mr. and Ms. Howard Gentry. Glad to have you all here.
Thank you. Good
Can
to
I
be
shake
here.
hands with you?
Yes,
I don't have to
can.
shake hands with Howard.
I'll shake it anyway.
Now, Howard's been here before, but this is Sharon. And Sharon, we just want to center this interview around you as much as we can, okay? Because we don't want to talk to Howard that much, but we will. Howard goes back a long, long way with the city of Nashville. You have a passion, Howard.
I do.
For the city
I
of
love
Nashville.
I
You
love
do?
Nashville, yes.
Can you explain it?
I can explain it. Nashville and Howard Gentry have grown together. We changed together, and we have matured together, and we've had successes and failures together, and I just feel like we're one.
You remind me so much of my good friend Buck Dozier.
Wow.
You guys, y'all are just committed. Y'all have a passion.
Yes.
Y'all have a passion for city government.
Yes.
Can you explain all that, huh?
I tell people his umbilical cord is still attached to downtown Nashville. So,
Now, Sharon, you grew up in New Orleans?
yes, sir.
Did I say it right? New Orleans?
So
New Orleans?
it's passable.
Okay. What brought you to Nashville?
Graduate school
Graduate school.
at Tennessee State University,
And
College of Engineering.
what do you do for a living?
I work for the Hospital Corporation of America. I'm a program director for the Electronic Health Record Program.
That sounds complicated.
It is. It's a lot of fun, though.
It's not something I can do.
Well, we can bring you on, train you up, see what we get.
I don't know where you do that or not. But you also serve as a school board.
Yes, sir. I am school board representative for District 1. This is the last couple of months of my first term, and I'm currently running for re-election.
Okay. Name of this show is Hope for the Cities. Started out with Hope for the Cities of Hopelessness, but the title is too long, so we took off the hopelessness, and I like it's a new title
Much
because
more
it's
appropriate.
more positive,
Yes.
you know. But it is Hope for the Cities. And the school board, and I've had Mayor Dean on,
Sure.
and I have people come on, and I had the mayor of Columbia come on, Alan Dickey. I don't know, not Alan. Alan's his brother. I went to school with Alan. Dean Dickey. And then Mayor Purcell.
Right.
They all tell me education it's got to be the center of changing our city or helping our city. And I told Purcell that y'all had converted me to that. Because see, Sharon, I have learning disabilities. I don't read. I read a little bit, but I don't read well. I'm a ADD. We didn't know that when I was going to school. They just thought I was stupid, which is probably true. But anyway, I have the severe dyslexia. And so going to school and education, I always, when they said education is the answer, or one of the answers, Howard always resented that because I didn't have it, you know, and wasn't going to get it and didn't even like the idea. But the more I've worked in the inner city and more I've worked with my children, the more I see they don't have a chance if they can't receive a quality education.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's pretty much the foundation and the cornerstone of a healthy community. It gives a sense of hope and a sense of purpose for individuals who have received quality education. They understand that it's applicable to being able to progress beyond their current circumstances, even if it's just a matter of gaining more awareness of where they are and a better understanding of where they can be. And that's where a good education really begins to help you develop your sense and your role in your community. I think the problem that a lot of our youth tend to face is that they don't know where their place is. And so they tend to make places for themselves. And those places that they tend to create are the ones that are not necessarily healthy for our community as a whole, but it gives them a sense of connectedness and a sense of belonging, unfortunately, a lot of times to the wrong things.
And here's what I've learned about working with our children. And I say amen to what you're saying. But here's what I've learned in my years of experience here. That a child, and I've said this on the show 1,000 times, that when a child is born into usually a single parent home, and the mother doesn't have parenting skills, but does love her children, we can't put her down. She
Absolutely.
loves her children. And that child at the early age of 3, and I've had teenagers tell me this is where I got this. I wasn't smart enough to figure it out, but they told me what happened. The process of them making decisions is as early as the age of 3. Now, Howard, this is important. They stop taking in new information to protect themselves, because if they take in, every time they take in new information, it winds up hurting them. So they put up a wall to protect themselves. That's the reason so many of our children that we work with don't do homework. They don't take in new information. They shut down taking new information. And the only way to break through that is with attention and love and hope.
That's right.
You know, one of the things that I think it's going to be, and you touched on it earlier before the interview started, we've got to find a way to engage our parents in the education process. There's no denying whether that influence is positive or negative. They are the primary influence in our children's lives. We don't pick and choose our parents. We don't pick and choose the circumstances they find themselves in. However, we have to accept a sense of responsibility and a level of accountability for how involved they can be in the education process for their children. So going back to that same example of a mother that may not have a great amount of education and may not have a high level of parenting skills, you know, I've mentioned this to my husband before. If we can create small pockets of services for our community, through the schools being at the focus of that. So we need to find a way to bring those services that complete the process of helping that child take in new information, helping that child want to learn, helping that child understand their role and their purpose and where they fit in the community. If we can bring some of the social services, some of the police department services, some of the healthcare services into these hubs of networks of support across the community. It's very difficult for a parent that is working a night shift, you know, a third shift job, and has kids at home to take care of and homework to help do and no transportation, to be able to get to the services that are critical to his or her ability to do those things.
Amen.
As well as be in the schools where we want them to support their kids. So why is it that we cannot find a way to bring those services? And it, you know, to me, it's my working definition of compassion. We have to meet people where they are.
That's right.
And to say that as a city we have all these wonderful things, and we do. We have wonderful services and wonderful opportunities for people to be and to grow and to learn and to experience. That's fantastic. But if they're not located in the areas where the people who need them can get to them, they're serving no purpose whatsoever.
Could be overseas.
May as well be overseas.
And in my experience have been people who stuck in hopelessness don't leave the corner they stand on. Sure. That's where they stay. So you're right. Now see, what you just described was the school I went to growing up down there in the woods, Howard, in Giles County down there. I'm from Pulaski, Tennessee. Can you believe that? I'm out of Giles County, Tennessee. But anyway, but it was a community, and it was a family.
Sure.
Now, when we come into I'm not arguing about the big schools, what do you call them, comprehensive high schools. I'm not arguing that, because that has done a lot to overcome racial hard feelings and so forth, and I know it's had some real benefits to that. But my parents living in Napier that have limited access to transportation can't go to McGavock.
Sure.
That's too far out. But they can go to Napier School.
Sure. So I think that there's a couple of things. I just want to tell you that we've removed the term comprehensive from all of our high schools. Yes. So they're no longer referred to as comprehensive high schools.
Just big schools.
They're just physically large. But we have created things that are called academies that allow for sort of smaller schools within the schools. So we have freshman academies. We have academies that are geared towards developing certain skill sets and passions and interests that may resonate better with our students.
Now, how does that work? I'm interested in this because I think this is what needs to happen. I think you're on to it. I believe that is the real key to helping my children.
Sure,
and I call them somewhere, and don't be offended with this, I'll say my people.
Sure.
But it's people I've grown up with,
Absolutely.
and I've grown up, watched them grow up. I've been grown up a long time.
Well, to me, the successful education experience for any child, be they a 4th grader or a 12th grader, is helping them understand how what I'm asking them to learn, that new information I'm asking them to take in, can actually be applied. And what I would like to suggest on that comment about resisting new information is another conversation we've had. We have several organizations that love the idea of taking kids from the inner city and exposing them to things that they would never have an opportunity to see as long as they stay on that corner, which is fantastic. But when I come back home and after I've taken you to see an opera and I give you a CD of the soundtrack and you don't have a CD player to play it on,
that's right,
or there's no one else in your house that wants to listen to that,
that's
all
beautiful.
Of a sudden that's now new information that I'm going to tuck away and not admit that that's an experience that I have, that I actually know what an opera is, I know what a libretto is, I know what staccato means, because these are things that I've learned, but I have no one in my immediate surroundings. And my comfort zone with which to share that. So, I mean, I think those are all great things, but we have to find ways to close the loops. We have lots of great starts and great initiatives that don't close the loop
Connect the dots
on what that really means for a child to have that experience, and how do I grow from that experience when I'm not in an environment the majority of the time to foster that new information and foster the development and want me to have even broader experiences behind that one. So again, it's about finding ways to connect with our students, doing it with compassion, meeting them where they are so that we can take them where we believe they need to be.
Are you finding resistance to this in the city of Nashville, to this academy concept?
In the beginnings, I think there was a lot, because people began to feel that we were not focusing on those students who were high achievers. Everyone wants IB programs available everywhere. Everybody wants the programs for the exceptional and the gifted to be available everywhere, because they felt that we were hurting students to vocational education, because some of these academies are more hands-on skills and some of them are bigger skills. Some of them are medically focused.
We need that.
Well, everyone's not going to be a doctor, lawyer, or an Indian chief, and it's irresponsible of us to not provide a way for students to take care of themselves and be positive contributors to the communities in which they live. Now, that doesn't mean because you took up carpentry in school, you're not going to go to college, or because you took up, some other skill level that you learned in school that you're not going to want to do more things. But we have to find ways to close the gaps that exist when our students walk out of our schools.
See, I don't think everybody needs to go to college, myself. I think people need to be happy, need to be productive, and need to provide for their family. Now, here's where I'm coming from. Let me explain this for you.
And I don't disagree.
Yeah,
I don't disagree.
I think God gave us the family first. He gave us the church to save the family. He gave us the government to protect the family. But family is God's small group. If we can, in that family, achieve our identity, and in this family setting, we can achieve our happiness, we can achieve our hope, and we can be happy where we are. I mean, I grew up in a family, and we were poor, but brother, we were happy. And we had things going for us, and we weren't a second-class citizen because we knew who we were. And so if we can get that to happen, building these families, then I think people are going to be secure, and they're going to be happy, and not everybody have to go to school to do that.
Well, Lionel, I agree. The only thing that I worry about, and have you ever had me on a show I've been this quiet? That's where I learned. She's where I learned it. No, where I learned everything
good
from.
What you do.
And the fact is that it's absolutely a fact that everybody doesn't have to go to college. But you just got through saying that you have been converted, that education is key. So the thing is that even though we know that everybody doesn't have to go to college, what we can't do, especially those of us who did and have benefited from it, and I always say that if we don't ensure that others don't at least have an opportunity to get what we did,
well, if they got the opportunity and want to take it, yes.
Then we cheated them.
That's right.
And so what I'm saying is that what I don't want to do is to deliver that message on the front end that everybody doesn't have to go to college. Let's try to get them there. And if they're not able to get there, then maybe rework the plan.
I don't think the question is about making a statement about whether or not people have to or don't have to go to college. Our responsibility in the school system is to prepare everyone with the ability to attend college, should they choose to.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Here's and it is, education to me is not going to college. Education to me is not going to high school. Education is a part of that. It takes in bigger than that. It's taking in new information. Education is learning, and learning how to be successful in life. In other words, learning how not to buy things that you can't afford.
Sure. So it's about, there's a couple of things that are in our mission statement, or about developing citizenry as well as becoming lifelong learners. And so that lifelong learning does not have to be in a classroom.
That's right. Now see, that's now when you said that, you got my heart. That's it. A lifelong, because a lot of people that's my age think that they've turned off learning.
Sure.
And we do such a great injustice, because my age is the people that needs to be working with the children that's struggling.
Yeah.
Because they have the wisdom to give to those children, to encourage them, because there's children out there that's going to be missed that wants to go to college, would love to go to college, but don't think they can go to college.
But people your age don't need to be struggling to work with the kids who are struggling. people your age need to be supported financially with
right.
other resources so that you who are committed to the struggle are able to be as successful as you can be. And the problem we have in our city, in our country, in other cities, is that that commitment to assist people like you at the highest level possible is not there, because it's a commitment that is a difficult commitment to make. It's a difficult commitment for some people to support or even ask for, because there are not enough people who have the passion and the compassion to make this an easy job for you.
You're exactly right. Not everybody can do, but they need to learn to.
But they need to learn.
They
absolutely
But they can be a part of the team.
Well, maybe they're
Let's look
listening
at
today
it.
and
Yeah,
they'll think
they can be a part of it, because it's a team operation.
team
It's a community operation.
Yes.
It's like, love Hillary or not. She said it takes a it takes a community, not
Takes a
community.
village.
She takes a village. Hillary's a village thing.
Well,
Now,
the Africans
Well, it was an
really
African
said that.
proverb, but-
She got
It was an
okay.
African proverb.
My key is it takes a family, but if
Yeah.
the family is broken,
Yeah.
brother, it takes a village.
Yeah,
It takes
because-
a community.
Because we're required to fix it. And
That's
we're not,
right.
we're not, it's not because anything, it is a requirement. I was speaking today at the IMF, and I made that statement. I said, you know what, we need to quit talking about the single parent families, the broken families, dads in prison and stuff. You know what, it is what it is. It is our responsibility.
Bring healing to the situation.
To bring it and to try to repair some of the broken parts, but if we can't repair them, to fill in to where those parts, those gaps, and to ensure that those kids still have an opportunity to succeed in spite of the circumstances.
Love is the only answer. Not the only answer, I shouldn't say it that way. Love is the answer.
It is.
Because
Well,
when
actually,
we
it is
love,
the only answer,
when
because
we
everything
love-
else spurs from that. If you
That's
don't
right.
love what you do, if you don't love the people you're elected or appointed to serve, if you don't have a love, foundationally, it's what's necessary to be committed, to have the passion, to have the wherewithal, to have the stamina, to even be remotely interested in doing anything.
I agree. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to achieve those other things. So you're
Absolutely.
right. I want to go back to what he is saying here about getting behind and supporting, because we need the city of Nashville supporting our school system.
Absolutely.
We need the city of Nashville supporting organizations like what we're doing, because we got people. Howard, I got an army ready to move.
Yep.
I haven't got the funding. I'm spending $1.5 million in Nashville's inner city a year, and I need $3 million. And because I've got people that could be mentors to children, that could get them hooked up with teachers and could go to school with them and find out what needs to be happening at school, and be a bridge between that mother that doesn't feel comfortable going to school, could get that mother, bring all that together. I got those kind of people, but I don't have the funding to do it. And I got to get the funds in there for it. So what you're saying, I agree with you 100%. And I'll say, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I want to make sure we're saying the same thing here. We're on the same page here. You are interested in children having the opportunity.
Yes, and I'm interested in those who have the resources and abilities to make that happen, help make that happen. We need to have government to take a leadership role in these areas. We need to have business leaders and community leaders to take a leadership role in that area and not be afraid to step out and do it. That doesn't mean spend all your money. That doesn't mean to take all your resources. But when our leaders become engaged, then other people become engaged. It becomes a priority. It becomes the right thing to do, and that's where the masses of resources and sustainable support come from.
A little bit from everybody goes a
That's
long
right.
way instead of a whole lot from
Yeah.
one person. I think.
Sure.
Churches can't be left out of that scenario.
Churches have to be vitally involved
Churches
in
has
it.
got to get out of the
Yes.
church building, get out in the community
That's
where
right.
the people are, and bring some
Absolutely.
healing to people's lives. I mean,
And
that's
then,
my
and then the
soapbox.
churches have to accept those people.
There you go.
When we bring them
Now,
into the churches.
now, there you go.
That's
There you go.
that's the point. That's the place where it gets dicey.
That's what I love
That's
about the
where it
Inner
gets
City Church
dicey.
of Christ. To have 2 police officers inside the building, because I bring in gangs,
Yeah.
and they come, and they don't come for trouble. They just come in. But when they get there, they have a short fuse. Little thing goes off, so they drop back into it. So I put 2 police officers in the building, and I tell you what, folks, changed everything. Best thing I ever did. Who would have thought having 2 police officers come in a church building would have changed it? But see, inner city church is a church where sinners come. And all kind of people come in from all different backgrounds, and we have one thing in common. We come there to worship the Lord. And it is a beautiful experience. You need to come visit with us sometime.
I do. We do.
It would, both of you, yeah. You can come visit with us. Leave him at home. Leave him at home. No, I want you to come, Howard.
Yeah.
I appreciate you and what you're doing. Now, back to this school situation. What, if I ask this, what is the city of Nashville got to do? If we made that clear, there's a voter sitting out here somewhere.
Talk to a school board member. We want to hear that.
I think, you know, obviously primarily it's going to be funding, and so that goes to the government. You know, we prepare, so we're in a very weird situation. The school board prepares a budget, but it has to be approved by the council and by the mayor.
The mayor's already give you his 2 cents. He's in it.
Yes.
He's in.
So first of all, it's absolutely funding. I think we have a definite gem in Jesse Register as director of schools. He has national connections and exposure. He has experiences with reform, and that's what our school system has been in need of for quite some time, is reformation, doing things differently. Obviously, you know, as they say, the definition of insanity is doing what you've done always the same way forever, expecting a different result. And we are getting different and better results. We have to form and formalize better working relationships with those wraparound services, with the other social services entities, to help, again, bring what our communities, our students, and our parents need closer to where they are so that we can engage our parents. We will never be successful with the mass of students we are here to educate. We're up to almost 80,000 students in our school system. When I first joined the board 4 years ago, we were a little over 71,000. So we're seeing rapid growth of students that we're committed to serve and have responsibility for serving in this district, and it's only going to continue to grow. We have now I'll say the new thing, but a popular option for education for our students is now charter schools. And you know, we catch a lot of flack as a board with regards to what we feel is our responsibility in approving charters. And we have a vision and a mission statement for our students and for our district. Charter schools are public schools within our district. They're just operated not out of central office. They take funding from our schools to be able to operate. Lots of times we offer them physical places to house their students. So, but those students are still our students. Their scores still reflect on the district. They're still public school students. You know, they're not paying tuition. They're public school students.
So it's not like the Christian school over here
Absolutely.
On the corner.
It's not.
It's not that.
It's not. It's not a Catholic school. It's not a private school. They're charter schools. And we have a responsibility to ensure that any charter school that we grant the right to service our students is aligned with the mission and vision that we have for our district. So you know, we get into the opportunity to review lots of applications, but we have to make choices what's best for our students and for the 79,000 students, not for the 200 students they have the capacity to serve.
Now let me ask this question. I want you to address this one, and you can. That I hear people criticizing when it's going to raise property taxes. And I own a home. I'm going to be paying more property tax, and I'm glad to do it. I mean, you know, I'm poor family. You know how poor I am, Howard. But I'm glad to do it because going to put more police officers on. Going to put money in the schools. Education is one of the answers. So I'm not negative toward that. If the person says, well, you put more money into schools, they are not accounting for the increase in the amount of students that's in those schools.
No, they're not.
And they want to be what it was. It's not Mayberry anymore.
No, it's not.
And it's changing. And I appreciate the school board's vision to be able to step out. Now, is what you've just conveyed, is that pretty much the feeling of the school board?
It is. We worked on that mission and vision statement painfully for quite some time, and as a board, and we all had input into it. And it's what we believe is the right position to have with regards to what we're responsible for with regards to our kids.
Is the school board a paid position?
It is. There's a stipend associated with being a school board member.
But the people that's there have a passion for education.
You have to. You have to.
How big is the school board?
We have 9 members.
9 members. Is that big enough?
Oh, sometimes it's too big, but yeah, it's big enough.
Yeah, well, the increase, how does it go? The increase in number, decrease in authority. Yeah. If you had I may have asked you this already. What one wish? We got 3 minutes. One wish for the city of Nashville, for public schools, school board. One wish. Can you put that down, Sharon, as to what it would be?
for everyone in the city of Nashville to understand and appreciate the fact that quality education system is critical for all of us to have the quality of life that we want to have.
Ignorance is expensive.
It is.
1.3 million, I believe is what Hall told me, Sheriff Hall told me, to incarcerate a lifetime criminal.
Yeah.
1.3. Now, remember the old commercial, Howard, years ago, pay me now, pay me later?
Exactly.
Well,
Why can't we do that with children?
Let
We
me
gotta
give you
protect them.
a little more on ignorance is expensive. You're probably talking about those who don't have education, but those who do have education, they can't figure out or who do not have the wherewithal to do what needs to be done to make sure that the problem goes away. They're ignorant too. And so ignorance is very dangerous and very expensive because we're paying for it on both ends.
We really are.
Yes.
You need to drive that point home, Howard.
Yes.
That's good.
I've just enjoyed riding along with Sharon today. This has been an experience for me.
I appreciate y'all coming. We got 2 minutes to go. Howard, you got a message for the city of Nashville?
Well, you know, the message is for the city of Nashville is that Nashville is a good city. And Nashville is moving in the right direction. Things are happening in Nashville that are not happening around the nation because Nashville is so blessed with having the diversity it has, not just in its population, but also in its on the economic side. The thing that we have to be very careful about is that as we grow and as we do good and look good, that we don't forget that there are masses of people in our city who are struggling.
That's right.
There are masses of children in our city who, if not for the opportunities that programs like yours and others provide, would not be able to move beyond their circumstances. We have to know that they're here. There are people in Nashville who are homeless, who will not have a roof over their head if it were not for the help of people who have the resources. So we have to, as we move forward, as we build, as we grow, we also need to be very conscious of the fact that there are others that are in need.
District 1,
Yes.
running for the school board.
Yes, sir.
Love what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Want to help our city. I want to thank you for tuning in, folks. This is Mr. and Ms. Howard Gentry. Sharon is wanting our help to get this job done. We thank you for tuning in. Am I ready to go, Betsy?
10 seconds.
Oh, we got 10 seconds. Okay. Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
That is great.
Thank you, Larry.
Boy, I enjoyed this
All right.
conversation. It was great. Folks, it's our city. Let's make a difference. Thank you.
Sometimes I hear feeling in touch with fear. Freedom we all hold dear. Now is that stake. Humble your heart to God. Safe from the chastening rod. Seek the way pilgrims trod. Christians away. My Jesus is coming soon. Morning or night or noon. Many will meet their doom. Trumpets will sound, and all of the dead shall rise. Righteous me in the skies. I'm going where no one dies, heavenward bound. Well, troubles will soon be your happy forevermore. When we meet on that shore, free from all care, rising up in the skies, telling this world goodbye. Home and we will fly, glory to